In early January 2026, the nation of Albania has been struck by a severe and escalating flood crisis following multiple days of unrelenting rainfall. From the northern plains to the southern coastline, entire communities are battling rising waters, damaged infrastructure, and widespread displacement. The storm system that settled over the Balkans brought with it heavy downpours that saturated the land beyond capacity, triggering dangerous river overflows and urban flash floods. As of January 6th, the Albanian government and emergency responders remain on high alert as forecasts predict continued rainfall and worsening flood conditions in the coming days. One of the hardest hit areas is the port city of Durus, where torrential rain flooded intersections, submerged sidewalks, and entered ground floor homes and shops. Residents in downtown neighborhoods awoke to water flowing through the streets, spilling into building entrances and causing significant distress. In many cases, families were seen using makeshift barriers to keep the water from pouring into their homes, while store owners rushed to salvage merchandise as water reached display windows. Traffic in Durrës has ground to a halt, with several major roads completely impassable due to flooding or landslides triggered by waterlogged terrain. Farther north in the city of Lezhë, the situation is even more dire. In the Durrës and Lezhë neighborhood, floodwaters have risen to nearly half a meter in depth, covering doorways and rendering pedestrian movement nearly impossible. The local education board was forced to suspend classes at the Kosova school for 9th graders, as the campus and surrounding areas were deemed unsafe for students and faculty. Emergency services were deployed to assist with evacuation planning, and temporary shelters have begun to open in nearby schools and government buildings. The agricultural heartland of southern Albania has not been spared. In Shuka, a village near the tourist hub of Saranda, a breached levee caused extensive flooding across fields and homes. Emergency teams reported at least 5 residential buildings fully surrounded by water, and hundreds of hectares of farmland were inundated. Farmers in the region are expressing deep concern, not only for their current losses, but for the long-term impact this flood will have on their winter harvest and future planting cycles. Access roads into these rural communities have been blocked by mudslides or completely washed out, delaying both aid and evacuation. Tragically, the storm has already claimed at least one life. In the southeastern region of Korça, a 75-year-old man lost his life after being swept away by fast-moving waters while walking near a flooded creek. Authorities say the man was attempting to return home when he slipped and was carried downstream. His body was recovered later that afternoon by local firefighters. This fatality underscores the real and growing danger posed by Albania's overwhelmed waterways. In addition to personal tragedies and property losses, the economic toll is mounting rapidly. Businesses in flooded areas have shuttered. Farmers are counting losses. Transport and delivery services have been disrupted across multiple regions. The Ministry of Infrastructure has initiated emergency repairs to damaged bridges and roads, but officials warn that full restoration may take weeks, depending on terrain conditions and ongoing weather activity. At the same time, power outages have been reported in several districts, leaving thousands without electricity or heating in the middle of winter. Prime Minister Edi Rama addressed the nation on Tuesday morning, acknowledging the scale of the crisis and urging the public to remain calm and vigilant. In his remarks, he stated, "This is not a time for panic, but for unity. I ask all citizens to follow official warnings closely and to prioritize safety. We are mobilizing all available resources to support those affected. The government has also activated the National Civil Protection Agency, which has issued severe weather alerts across 6 counties. Additional rainfall is expected through January 8th, with particular concern for further flooding along the Vjosa River and mountainous areas vulnerable to landslides. Meteorologists predict the storm system will continue to hover over Albania and neighboring regions for another 24 to 36 hours. Heavy rain, accompanied by occasional thunder and strong wind gusts, is expected to intensify conditions overnight. The regions of Shkodër, Elbasan, and Vlora are especially at risk for continued flooding and additional infrastructure failures. Hydrologists are closely monitoring rivers and dams across the country as water levels continue to rise. This disaster also raises questions about Albania's long-standing vulnerabilities to extreme weather. The country has endured major floods in the past, most notably in 2010, 2015, and 2022, but experts say this week's rainfall is among the most intense in decades. Urban drainage systems, often outdated or poorly maintained, have failed to handle the sheer volume of water, especially in densely populated areas. Environmental groups are calling for stronger climate adaptation policies, better urban planning, and long-term investment in resilient infrastructure. Despite the challenges, scenes of courage and community spirit are unfolding across the country. Volunteers are assisting with sandbagging efforts, distributing supplies, and helping elderly residents evacuate from at-risk neighborhoods. In Durrës, neighbors are sharing food and warm clothes with displaced families. Emergency workers, many of them working 12 to 16-hour shifts, are pushing through exhaustion to protect lives and restore order. As the floodwaters continue to spread, Albania finds itself at a critical juncture, balancing urgent rescue efforts with the need for systemic reform in how it prepares for natural disasters. For now, the message is clear. Stay safe, stay alert, and support one another through the storm.